Hello, my friends. I hope you're doing well. Sending you tons of love. I had already recorded this message once, but I got all the way through and realized that the microphone was muted. It was muted the whole time, and it was a good one. I was in the flow. It was happening. We had no voice. We just had the music. But such is life. So, yeah, as you can see, we're trying this setup. I'm on some new recording software. I've got my microphone set up a little bit better. I've been tweaking and trying a bunch of different things. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm just going to take a minute to get back into the flow of things and then do this message again because I feel like it's important. And just setting the intention that this message finds who it needs to find. That it comes across in a way that's for the highest good of all people who listen to it. Right, so I was sitting down to get into some work today, and I just kept hearing this message and that I needed to share it. And that is that just because things aren't happening in your physical world, just because you're not seeing progress and movement in your physical world, doesn't mean that nothing is happening. Now, I saw a video the other day of Lauryn Hill, I love her, talking about the ups and downs of life and the ebbs and flows of life and how it's such a wave, ups and downs. But she was rephrasing this. Rather than ups and downs, she was saying that those dips are learnings and then the upticks are mastery. So learnings, mastery, learnings, mastery, learnings, mastery. And I love this because it kind of just puts things in perspective that we're not going to be on a high all the time. We're not always going to be feeling great. We're not always going to be feeling on top of things. We're not always going to be up. It's just the way that it is, and it doesn't matter how long you've been on your spiritual journey, there's still going to be days that are extremely challenging. You're still going to run into shadows popping up, having a little bit of a tug of war with your ego here and there, and just life stuff that just can be overwhelming and challenging. And yeah, sometimes like you get to a point where it makes it so that things are easier to manage, but I mean, there's still life stuff that happens, and that's it. But to get back to my message, just because you're not seeing things happening and moving and progressing in your outer reality doesn't mean that there aren't still things happening in the spiritual realm that you can't see. Doesn't mean that there's not stuff happening internally, internal shifts happening for you that are healing, processing emotions, energy, things that are in the body, things that we haven't looked at, things that we haven't processed. Sometimes those moments that seem like you're stagnant or you're not moving, those are the moments where there's internal reconstruction happening. There's healing, deep healing happening. And sometimes that's why we feel really tired or lethargic or extra thirsty or whatever. We have big waves of emotions coming up. We have memories floating to the surface that, either we'd completely blocked out or we hadn't thought about in a long time. It's because this is another layer of healing and processing that needs to happen before we can move on to our next phase of life, our next learnings, our next opportunities for mastery. And this process of awakening, unfolding, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, is just a constant, it is like a constant unfolding. And like you see the 1,000-petaled lotus flower, it's just constantly opening. But if you watch video of a flower opening, it's a very slow process. The blossoming happens at a very slow pace. And it's the same for us. Our awakenings happen at a pace that, the body can handle. And so it's like peeling layers off an onion, or another petal blossoming open one at a time, so that our bodies have a chance to process the energy and emotions, memories that it needs to process. We have time to realign our mind in a new way. We have time to process emotions. There's so many layers to this, and our minds and our egos want to just get to the finish line, just want to get there, just want to keep doing, just want to keep accomplishing. And there's a time for that. There's a time for action. There's always time for action, but there's also needs to be time for this rest and integration, reflection, and just time to process. So these moments where it feels like nothing's moving and nothing's happening, there could be a very deep internal work that's happening. And also there could be things that are happening in the spiritual realm that we have no idea about. Our angels, our spirit team could be working on things in the background. God could be working on things in the background, setting the table, preparing the room, working to put pieces into place in order for us to move into this next section of our lives. And sometimes when that's happening, then we will get prepared. These slow times are when we're getting prepared and maybe stretched a bit so that we can hold the next learning and lesson. We might be getting stretched. We might be releasing things that no longer serve us and won't be bringing us into this next level of life. We might need to restructure our mind, like I said, our mindset, our belief systems, the ways that we speak to ourselves, the way that we show up in the world, the way that we are consistent. So when we get to these kind of dip points in the journey, I know it's frustrating. I know it can make us kind of anxious and antsy too, just because you feel like there's something coming down the pike for you, but you don't know what it is. And you want to just take action to kind of get where you're going. But these are equally magical times as the times when we're charging forward. These are equally magical times if we will open to it and sit with the discomfort and the not knowing, and sit in the void and allow it to be what it is, because this won't last forever either. Even though sometimes it might feel like it will, it won't last forever. And this is all part of this unfolding, this journey that we're on. And it's a beautiful thing, but it's also very challenging sometimes, because you might be dealing with big time anxiety in this space. You might have big emotions and big purges happening, big healing eruptions, if you will, during this time. It's not always a nice, easy process. Sometimes it's very uncomfortable, but it's worth it. It's worth it. So if you're in this place right now where you don't know what's happening, it feels like you're in between worlds and you don't really know where you're headed, but you know that you don't quite fit where you've been. This is the void. And this can be quite a magical place full of creative potential, but also sometimes it's just a place where we need to be present for ourselves, compassionate with ourselves, and be able to just hold space for what needs to happen. Maybe it's an aspect of ourselves that needs to be heard and seen or comforted. I feel like I'm rambling now, but it can be a really potent time, albeit uncomfortable. And this is kind of where faith and resilience are born as well, is in these quiet moments, in these moments where it seems like everything stops. This is where faith is built. And I'm just getting this visualization of, when you're driving down a highway and it's dark, you're driving down the highway at night and you can't see the road. All you can see is maybe the 20 feet in front of you that your headlights illuminate. That's all you can see. But you keep driving because you trust that you're going to get where you need to go. You trust that that road's going to keep going, and you trust that you're on the right path. You know that you're on the right path. That's the kind of faith that is asked of us in these moments where we don't know what's happening. We don't know quite where we're going. We don't know quite what all of this is for. We're being asked to have that kind of faith, to know that we can just see that little bit in front of us and keep going, and trust that we're on the right path, because you are. So I think that's it for this one today. It's just, if you're in that kind of a space right now where it feels like things are stagnating, nothing's really moving, nothing's really happening, excuse me, just know that there might be things happening in the spiritual realm right now, setting things up for this next part of your life. There might also be deep internal work that's happening to prepare you for this next part of your life as well, this next part of your journey. So trust, breathe. The breath is a big one, especially during times where things are a little bit uncertain. Breath is huge. If you can take deep belly diaphragmatic breaths into your belly, let your belly just relax and hold the breath, and breathe out through your mouth. Just do a few of those. You'll feel that it calms your nervous system and grounds you as well. It's important during these times of kind of transition to keep yourself grounded with your breath, with, different body movement, with any kind of exercise, putting your bare feet on the ground if it's warm enough to do so, things like that to keep yourself grounded and centered. Because wherever you're going on your journey, Your true home is inside of you. That's the only home that will be with you for your entire time on this planet, is inside your heart and your soul. So if we can find peace in there within ourselves, then we will have peace no matter what this life journey brings us. And it doesn't mean that you're never going to have an off day, because the off days will happen. It doesn't mean that your heart will never break, because that just seems to be part of life as well. But underneath it all, you will start to find a bit more steadiness and a bit more comfort and a bit more clarity when you stay connected to your center, to your heart, to what's real, to what's true. And know that this moment is temporary, this feeling is temporary, this emotion is temporary, this situation is temporary. But you are eternal. Oh, I just got chills everywhere when I said that. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there for now. Sending you all so much love and a big hug through the interwebs. Yeah, I love you all so much. Thank you so much for all of your likes and comments and shares, and for subscribing to the channel. I love reading all of your comments. I know I don't get to them all always in a timely fashion, but I do read them all, and I'm so grateful that you're here. And I love seeing you all support each other in the comment section. That just makes my heart really happy. So yeah, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now, everybody.